Good evening, everyone. I'm Keshi Mudhui, the former secretary of the alumni, and I'm also joined by the current secretary, Marcy. So, Marcy, I'll just ask you to say hello before we introduce the session.
Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive series. We are back. This is the first episode we are having after the Alumni Day, and we are really excited. Welcome everyone.
Thank you so much, Marcy. And she'll be at the back office. So, if every engagement that we'll have on this session, Marcy will be looking at your comments. So I'm really excited about today's session because a lot of alumni have been asking us to bring on board an expert in HR and tumemtafuta tumempata. And first of all, I hope you're safe wherever you are for those in East Africa because there have been flooding everywhere. So just type in the comment section and say you're safe. And we tell you to keep safe and engage with this session. The comment section is open. Be open to ask your questions if you're curious about how to progress your career, how to start if you're mentoring someone who's about to start their career. So we ask you to and keep the comment section engaged. So today's session is called Thrive in Your Career, Mastering Competencies and Building Your Skill Portfolio. And we are honored to have Mr. Graig Asega, who is the Senior HR Manager at Pwani Oil. And I'll bring him on board, and Mercy will be engaging with you in the comment section. So thanks, Mercy, for salamu. So Mr. Graig, karibu sana. This is the NBPS alumni, and by extension, we welcome everybody who's a friend to the alumni. And I know we'll engage with you, we'll learn from you. So just start by introducing yourself to the audience. I'll also put on the comment on the lower third there, just a brief introduction of who you are. But yeah, tell us more about yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Keshi, and thank you, Mercy. Thank you for having me in this session. Thank you so much for those who have managed to join in. Graig Asega is my name, as mentioned earlier. Uh, like you read through my profile, I've been in HR now for over 15 years. And it's been an enjoyable journey. There is a lot to learn, still learning. And I believe even in this session, I'm going to learn. Keshi mentioned that we've been looking for a HR to speak about HR matters. But I just want to say that anyone who is in an organization and you have people below you, you're basically a human resource manager. And therefore, that's why I'm saying that we will learn from each other. So currently, I work for Pwani Oil. We do manufacture um, cooking oil, home and personal care products. So if you have fresh fry in your kitchen, that's our product, and we're proud of it. Therefore, if you allow me, I will go straight to the discussion of the day, if that's okay with you,
Yes,
Keshi.
that's okay. So I'll allow you to take the floor. We are here to learn, and the audience who are here and those who are coming, share the link with your friends. Let's all engage and let's all learn. So over to you, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I remember when Keshi reached out, her topic for the day was let's talk, let's discuss about interview. But then I said, interview is just the surface. Let's go deeper. Let's look at the preparation before we even have a conversation around interview. Again, the reason why I said let's talk about competencies is because from the description of the alumni, we have people who are already working and are not necessarily looking to um, looking into new jobs. And therefore, the question was, can we develop something that then cuts across, right, from those who are looking for jobs to those who are looking to grow to the next level, to those who are looking at how can I still proof my career, such that in case of any turbulence, I'm still able to survive. And that's why we said, let's talk about mastering competencies and building your skill portfolio, which completely cuts across. And I picked on this image here that you can see here, which is a very tall building. And I believe beneath is a foundation that has been dug quite deep for it to sustain this kind of a building. And as you can see, it has gone quite high. So I just wanted to paint a picture of what competencies does if you master them. So we are looking at using that to build a foundation by which you can then be able to go to whatever height you wish to go to. Good people, we see people preparing for interviews, and therefore they come in looking at how do I dress, how do I speak. But again, I still insist it's important to really master what you are coming to talk about. And then now you have all the confidence that you want to be able to engage. You've seen interviews, I believe we've gone to interviews where one person is given a whole 1 hour, but within 5 minutes they are done. But another person goes in and he does a whole 1 hour. So the question is, what were they speaking about? I think it's because they were prepared, they were ready, they knew exactly what they wanted to deal with, and therefore it becomes easy for you to have an engagement. And for us in HR, such a conversations are normally very sweet. They are very interesting. You want to continue to engage this person, dig deeper, and finally, you are able to quickly make a decision. And therefore, the topic for today becomes very critical. So when we talk about competencies, we're looking at skills and knowledge required to perform a specific role effectively. In most of our job descriptions, we will make sure that the skills and knowledge we are looking for are properly indicated pale chini kabisa. And it's important that before you apply for the job, you go through and ask yourself, am I the right person for this role? So I've done some definitions here. We are saying that skills are specific abilities to perform a particular task. So when you look at knowledge, you gain this through school, um, uh, all across. But then when you look at this, when you talk about skill, you're looking at the how. So you'll actually use this, the knowledge you have, the skill you have, to do your job better. And all we are saying, and what I'm really emphasizing on, is that it's important we build a skills portfolio that will actually set you apart, that will help you grow in your career, that will help you remain resilient regardless of the changes that will come. So remember that I said, um, if you have a good skill portfolio, then number one, um, if you are looking at entry into the job market, you are good. No issues, you can go through. If you are looking at growing within your career, so long as your skills portfolio are good, then you're good to go. If you are looking at the changes that are happening today, you've seen the way banks operated. Initially, every bank had a branch, but today they are moving from branches into ATMs where you can easily bank your cash, so you're not required into the bank. That means people are being dropped off. So if you had built proper skill portfolio, you still remain relevant. A research was done, and this is basically targeting human resource professionals. And the research indicates that 84% of companies are really planning to go digital, which is a reality. I was speaking to Keshi a few minutes ago, and she was talking about what's happening in the film industry, where today you don't need to write a script, think through. A script used to take a long period, but today I need an advert, I can easily be able to do that within 3 or 4, 5 minutes. And therefore, that is the direction most companies are going. 50% plan to accelerate automation. And from HR perspective, only 1/3 are ready for that. People think that within the next 3 to 5 years, their skills will be outdated, and therefore they need to really think in your own area. You take this kind of a survey and ask yourself, do I still have the skills that will enable me to be employable in future? Um, I will go to why we need competencies. I had mentioned, and I had said that if you are looking at accelerating your growth, then competencies become so critical, because it is from you having the right competencies. It means you are now equipped. You can now take on additional responsibility. You can now grow within the ladder. And therefore, the question is, I've had many people saying, I've stayed here for this number of years and there is no promotion forthcoming. The question is, have you prepared yourself? Do you know what the next level of a job requires in terms of skills? Have you worked on yourself to acquire such skills so that then you can be able to move without any challenge? I was listening to a broadcast about what happened the last week where we lost the CDF. And what was said is that in the army, you need to be ready for 2 levels above, meaning that in case anything happens, you are at the battlefield and anything happens, you need to be ready for the next 2 levels above. And therefore, the question to us is, are we preparing ourselves? Do we know what is needed in the next level? And are we preparing ourselves so that then you can actually pick up should a vacancy arise? So that we move away from saying, I've been here for 3, 4 years. Remember, 3, 4 years may not matter. It's about, do you know what needs to be done? Have you prepared yourself? The second reason why we really must put a lot of emphasis on knowing the right competencies is to do with securing new jobs. So, like I mentioned earlier, yesterday I was interviewing a lady here, and we went deeper into our conversation. And the interview lasted for 1.5 hours. It was sweet because any area you touch, uh, this is someone who really understands. And therefore, when you look at this kind of people, they are highly sought. They are very attractive. And so the question is, even as you look for new opportunities, what are you doing to yourself so that you prepare and you are ready should any opportunity come through? So remember, I've said competencies will help you to grow up. Competencies will make you be more attractive, and therefore you are sought after. You don't even need to go for interviews, you are headhunted. You're not looking for a job, but they are looking for you because you have the right skill. Like I mentioned earlier, there are constant changes. The place of work is really evolving. We are moving away from how we used to do things to a different way of doing things. And therefore, the question that we need to pause and ask ourselves is, am I relevant? Am I preparing myself so that if we are talking about, we used to use a manual register to work on attendance, and today we are moving into biometrics. Am I getting ready to be able to know how to use a human resource information system to manage people, for example? And therefore, if you look at these 3 areas, they really fit across all the cadres of people we will be having on this platform. People who want to grow, people who are looking at new jobs, and the people who want to remain relevant. And what I'm saying is that Peter Drucker, this is the father of modern management. He speaks of the only sustainable competitive advantage is having a learning organization. I want us to move away from organization and personalize it so that for you to be able to move from where you are to the next level, it will require a lot of learning, continuous learning, getting to know what skills are new, getting to know what's happening out there so that you equip yourself uh, such that you are now ready for anything that will come by. For those of us who are still looking for jobs, the question is, do you really know the area that you want to go in? And are you working on yourself such that you are ready for any challenge that will come through. I've spoken about growth, and I've said that if you master the competencies, then you are equipped to climb up the ladder. And I said the word irrelevant, being termed irrelevant in a workplace, is not a good word. I have in the past worked with a gentleman who um, was very good in payroll, very, very good, relied on the man to go to by the around 20th to 30th. This is a gentleman who is not, I mean, you can't just approach him anyhow because very critical resource. But then the problem is that this gentleman really focused so much on the system they were using by that time. But then the organization moved into a new system. And because he did not prepare time to learn, to get new skills, he was rendered irrelevant and therefore um, left out. And so mine is to challenge us for us to remain relevant. Then we really need to look at what are the future skills that are needed. Where is the world going? I'll be speaking about some of the future skills we are looking at today. And currently we are doing some recruitments. It's difficult to get certain skills in the market today because we were not prepared. For example, when I look at something like marketing, we went into the traditional marketing. But today, when you look at that field of marketing, it has really evolved. You're seeing people specializing in brand management. You are seeing people specializing in copywriting, in digital marketing, in media buying, and therefore, you looking across all those skills that are needed and asking yourself, how do I sharpen myself such that tomorrow, should there be any change, I can be able to fit here. I can be able to fit here without any challenge. I've spoken about the need to continuously learn. And as Alvin has said here very well, that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn and relearn. For you to remain relevant, again, I insist, there is need to constantly learn. There is need to constantly seek information, research, see what's happening out here. What are the new jobs? Such that then, supposing something comes in, you are ready for anything. Let's look at the power of multi-skilling and reskilling. Today, organizations are looking for people who are not just good in one area. We are looking for people who can handle 2-3 things. Assuming something goes wrong and you have to merge 2 jobs, you have a person who can be able to take them on and run with it. And that's why I will really request that we be open to learning different areas within the organization. Let's engage. We're talking about collaboration. Let's find out, are there areas where you can add value within the organization, not only in your department, because then that helps you develop different skills which you can use should need arise. And therefore, this becomes so key in today's organization. We are not looking for people who can only work in HR or in sales. If you're in sales, are you good in marketing? Are you good in trade marketing? Such that if there is need, you can move around the chain without any challenge. Reskilling. So, like I said, there are skills that are dropping off. They are no longer needed. And therefore, the question, are we getting ready? I'll give a very simple example of the cars. Earlier on, we used to use the manual, and then we came to the automatic, and we are moving. We are moving very fast. So the question is, are we keeping up to speed with the changes that are coming through? Remember, look at these two, multi-skilling and reskilling. In multi-skilling, if an organization was looking at shedding off some people, we will actually look at those who can do 2-3 roles. And that's the person I want to retain. Look at reskilling. If you remained doing what you used to do and you've not really moved up in terms of adapting new learnings for you to be able to fit, then you are the first target to drop off. And therefore, mine is to encourage us, whilst you are a salesperson, focusing on modern trade, for example, cut across, go to general trade, understand what happens in general trade. Go to marketing, understand what happens in marketing. Go to trade marketing. And as you do that, you are not only preparing yourself for different situations, but you can now even lead because you completely understand what happens in each of those areas. For reskilling, my urge to us is that let's be on the lookout. Let's ask ourselves what skills are coming through and how am I preparing myself. And if you prepare yourself in these two areas, then benefit number one, you really become a marketable person, very marketable because you are sought after. Look at a combination of a person who understands both entire commercial. You're looking at, you have an idea of what happens in marketing, in sales, in modern trade. So I'm looking for that kind of a person because it becomes easy for them to adapt and move on. Ability to take on new challenges and responsibilities. So I said, I've given examples on how this benefit will come through. If you have an understanding of a number of areas, then it becomes easy for you to solve problems. And I've just mentioned here a few or a number of skills that we really need to prepare ourselves and take on: data analysis, digital marketing, artificial intelligence, and the rest. I will confirm that when you look at data analysis, it's no longer for a certain group of people. It cuts across. If you're in HR, this is an area we need to perfect on. Because today, the HR of today is not just the HR of NSSF, NHIF. No, you need to go deeper into numbers, question numbers, um, work on job descriptions, work on performance management, and therefore understanding of numbers becomes so critical, and therefore it becomes a skill that we must go for. If you're in sales, you can't miss out on this. We have advertised for a job today, that is the business development manager, and we are insisting that the person must be very good in numbers because we want them to look at data and make sense out of it. So it's not just that I'm very good in selling. No, I'm very good in relationship. No, we want you to be good in numbers, and therefore it becomes a future skill. We can't even say future, it's actually a now skill. The next one is digital marketing. And the question will be, I'm in human resource, why do I need digital marketing? We've found this very critical for us because remember, from HR point of view, there are programs that you want to brand. There are things you want to really market, the programs you are running within HR. And therefore the need for you to understand, how do I go ahead and market these programs that I do have through the digital platforms that you have. And therefore it cuts across. I'm just giving examples of how this seems like they have no connection to HR, but they are so deep in HR. Artificial intelligence, I don't need to talk about it. Today, our work has been made easier. You could be having the same computer I have, but I can actually check for something and get the right response within the shortest time possible because I know how to look for it. Yet you have the same machine. And therefore, the question is there a need for us, regardless of where you are you in marketing? It will make your work easier to easily get some information on working on your strategy, on your brand strategy, and therefore you just build on. And therefore, this skill becomes very, very critical. Cybersecurity and cloud computing are some of the skills that we need to look at. Therefore, mine is still on this slide is just to encourage us. Let's work on ensuring that we are positive, that positive attitude, where if you have to relieve someone, use it as a learning opportunity. If there is any problem within the organization, but in a different department, use that to help yourself gain more skills. Go out, solve a problem in another department. It will give you a learning. Whatever jobs we are doing today, let's be on the lookout. I've just given you example of HR where we need to reskill in these three critical areas. And if we focus on this, look at these future skills, then the benefits are here. Number one, like I said, you are a sought after person. Number two, you can be able to take on leadership roles. You can be able to take on any other challenge without any problem. And because you know what is needed, then it becomes easy for you to solve problems. If I have to stop here, and this becomes the only thing that I want us to focus on. I'm just looking at, by the time we are leaving here, can we take this as our key take home? So at individual level, asking yourself, what are my aspirations? Where do I want to grow to? Is that clear? Have I been able to document that? Then do I know what is required? What skills are required for me to move towards that level? Then you become honest with yourself. We've looked at where you want to go. We've asked ourselves what competencies are needed. The next one is to do a gapping. You are looking at where you are, where you want to go, what is the difference, and then working on a plan. So, for example, if I'll give an example of Bilha because I know her. So, if I'm Bilha and I'm very good in modern trade, and I want to grow myself to a leader who will take care of national sales, and therefore I know exactly where I want to go. My role in the next 5 years is national sales. My question will be, what skills are needed as a national sales manager? What skills do I have now? So the difference informs my plan. We are good at planning for the organization, but we don't necessarily take time to focus on ourselves, to draw a roadmap for ourselves. And therefore, my humble request is, even as we leave this session, can we go and sit down, for those of us who may not have done, to just look at our aspiration and look at, don't limit yourself, give it the highest level that you can ever think of. And then you work on steps on what is required for each of the levels. Where am I at each of the levels? And how long will it take me? What do I need to do for me to be able to achieve that? If we just spend some time on this, then it becomes a ticket towards our growth, a ticket towards some of the jobs that we've always wanted. And therefore, it becomes very easy for you to move across jobs without any challenge. I will also insist that embracing our growth mindset becomes so critical. And growth mindsets are cultivated through continuous learning and unlearning. We've seen situations where I believe in this group, we have people who have gone ahead of me. Maybe they are CEOs in their own companies, but they are still here listening. And that's what we call cultivating a mindset that nurtures continuous learning and unlearning. You could be knowing something, but someone brings it out in a different way, which will help you. So for you to really reach out to your aspiration, you need to be open to learning. We need to stay informed and therefore continuously look at what's happening currently in Kenya and out of Kenya, and ask ourselves, how do we close the gap? Because things are moving very, very quickly. You could actually be, let me give an example of myself, a HR at Pwani, but what's happening at Safaricom is quite on another level. And therefore the question, how quickly are we grabbing the new happenings and making sure that we then unlearn what we already know, so that then we can pick up the new learnings. Then I've said the last item here is be environmentally aware. Understand the current skill demands, competency requirements within your organization and the industry. Industries will vary, and therefore you picking up, getting to know what's happening in this other company, how are they moving as far as the accounting is concerned. I've had an opportunity to interview an FC, and we picked on a number of people, and there were very, very basic questions which they will not pick because that's not what they focus on in the companies where they have been. Yet these are critical things which are needed in today's environment. So you could actually be a celebrated financial controller, but you've gone through one line. You've just known this is how we do things. And by the time you are getting out, you realize you are completely out of touch. And therefore, the need to be environmentally aware of what's happening. I want to give, I've been speaking about competencies, and I've been saying that you can actually use these competencies to rise the ladder. And so I want to give an example. For those of us who are looking for jobs, there are three critical areas to look at. Number one, we look at what we call core competencies. So this is what is so dear to an organization. And I've given what is dear to me. We are saying that there are organizations that value customer centricity. This is number one. Innovation, collaboration, quality, integrity. So if we are doing a competency-based interview, the first set of questions you will actually be posed on, it's not even your area of expertise. No, this is the first area. Because if you fail anything here, then you are not a fit for that organization, because this is what is considered critical. So for example, collaboration. I don't think there is any organization that desires to recruit a person, even if he's so good in what they do, but they can't listen, they can't communicate clearly, they are not team players. The basic interview should actually be to check on these items. If they don't tick, then you fall off. And therefore, to urge us, as we apply for jobs, number one, know what are the values of that company. Do we really know what they hold so dear? And are you aligned? There are companies that today, integrity is not something they want to compromise. They want people who can innovate. And therefore, you'll be asked questions around these areas initially. You'll be told, can you tell us the last idea you shared and what happened? What value or what contribution did it bring to the bottom line, for example? And therefore, the need to really ask yourself, do I really understand the core competencies and how good am I at each? That's number one, the bare minimum. And remember, for us in HR, I have not mentioned, but I need to mention now, we use competencies in various ways. Number one, we use them in recruitment. So I can just base my interview purely on these areas here. I want to know at what level, or give me a scenario where you are able to demonstrate empathy. And perhaps when we will be talking about interviewing skills, there is a process that I use which I like so much. It's called peeling the onion. So you know very well, when you peel an onion, unatoa polepole ukirudi nyuma mpaka pale ndani kabisa. So in a similar way, I want to go back to where you've come from and understand, how did you apply this customer centricity? So I will not ask you, tell me what is customer centricity, but I will go deeper to understand, share the last problem you solved and how you went about it. Now, if you have no idea, then you won't tell the truth. You will actually beat around the bush and therefore will not be able to give me the right answers. So we use these competencies for recruitment. We use them to identify learning and development. So for example, if we've realized that you are low on this skill, then it becomes an avenue for learning. And finally, we use them again when it comes to growing people within the organization. So let me give an example of functional competencies. So this, I've talked about core. I'm now going to functional. And the last one is leadership. So for someone who is not in leadership, I will interview them on core competencies and on functional competencies. So if you're in sales, we will have sales competencies. If you're in HR, we will have HR competencies. And then if you are a leader, then we will actually take you through leadership competencies. So if you've been looking for an interview, you've been looking at growing within the organization, the question is, are you good in core? Are you good in functional? And are you good in leadership competencies? So I think you can now see there is a lot of investment that is needed for you to be good in all the three areas. Now, if I come to sales competencies and we want to look at a person, currently is at entry level. So these are the normal skills that we need in a salesperson. Let me pick on one, and this is on relationship building. We want a salesperson to have relationship building skill. And how they demonstrate that behavior is they develop rapport, identify customer needs. Now, for me to grow you to this level, you need to be exhibiting this behavior. We are saying proactively builds trust, anticipate customer needs. At this level, you are only identifying, but at this level, you are anticipating. So if you are looking at growing here and you've stuck to identifying rather than anticipating, then you are not the right person for this job. Remember, when we advertise for a position, if we are advertising, say for a sales rep, we will only want someone who can be able to identify customer needs. But the more we go up, if I'm looking for a national sales manager, then I'm looking for someone who, within relationship, we are saying they foster strategic partnerships. Remember, the word strategic is not a one-day thing. It's a long-term. So they cultivate long-term client relationship. So you could be here, but you are exhibiting this behavior. You could be here, but you are exhibiting this behavior. So if we are looking for someone to grow and you are exhibiting all these behaviors, you are the right material for the next level. So it's not about I've done 3 years, but the question is on product knowledge. What can you tell us? Are you someone who is learning core product features and benefits, or you can explain, or you can provide an in-depth product consultation and you can anticipate customer questions? So this is someone who looks ahead. They are visionary, but these are still learning under instructions. And therefore, in our own areas of career, we need to go look at number one. I've said the companies that we work in, we understand what are the core competencies and where am I? Am I at the top in terms of living all these competencies? Ama niko nyuma? Remember, I've said clearly you can have all the best skills in terms of your technical area, but for as long as these ones don't take, it's a problem. You could be so good here and so good here, but you are not strategic. You can't make decisions. You can't lead teams, and therefore we can't make you a leader. If we do, then we will break you. So you've heard of the saying that you promote a very good performer, then after 3-4 months, they are down. Look at it from this perspective. You are very good here. You are doing your job. Here, there is no leadership. Then, because you are hitting your numbers, then they make you a leader. Here you have people to lead, and you have no knowledge how to lead. So within a short term, you are being given letters that unfortunately you are not controlling your team, but you don't have that skill. And that's why we say it's better grow someone within this, let them become a master, but don't push them to leadership, especially if they are not ready for that, if they have not been prepared. As you can see, This is a very good salesperson who knows what they do. But if they have to lead people, then they need to be strategic. They need to make decisions. They need to innovate for them to remain relevant. They need to be able to lead people. And still, I've indicated even within this, there are levels. And that's why a manager, we are saying, he develops departmental goals aligned with company strategy. So he's focusing only on their department. But here, at this level, these are senior managers or directors. They collaborate with senior leaders to craft long-term vision. So it's not only about their department, but they cut across. While this guy here oversees the development of the company's overall strategic direction. They anticipate future market shifts. So these are people who are thinking and saying, from the way we are seeing, TVs will no longer be necessary. People, I can already see people are moving into, there is a small thing that looks like a projector, very small, like size of a cup, which is now being used so that instead of having a whole TV on the wall, that's all you need. So that means there is someone who actually was looking at the future 5 years and is seeing there will be a need where people don't want to have huge screens. What else do we do for them? And therefore, they have quickly developed something different. At this level, that's how you are behaving. And therefore, mine is just to request us to really, in our own area, to really understand all this, the core, the functional, and the leadership, if you want to grow to that level. And remember, if you are looking at growing into another area in terms of multi-skilling, so if I may use the example again of Bilha, if you, this is what is in sales, and you are looking at moving again into modern trade so that you understand the whole commercial spectrum. So the question becomes, do you also know what is needed in modern trade or in marketing? So then that gives you huge job, but it comes with fruit. The more you equip yourself, the more you become better for the future. The more you are able to take up higher responsibilities. So I spoke about assessment, assessing yourself, and therefore it's important to take what we call a reality check if you are looking at flying. And I said clearly that number one, don't underlook the values of the organization. They are important. And how are you scoring? If we were to score on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you on all of them? Is there a gap? Can you work on it? Look at your area, functional. Ask yourself, am I okay? Am I at 100% in all my areas? What are the gaps? Can I work on them? If you are seeking leadership positions, do you know what is needed? Can you take a reality check? Measure yourself. If you are at 33, ask yourself, what do I need to do to become 100? There are so many resources out here. If you are looking at innovation, for example, there is what you can do to become a very good innovator. If you are looking at strategic thinking, there is so much preparation that you can do. So immediately you become frank, rate yourself accordingly. Then where there are gaps, work on them. This graph will move up to here. Future skills, we are saying in each role, ask yourself, what's coming? How will things be done in future? So the need for us to continuously Google to check what are the 2030 skills, so that you're asking yourself, can I be on top of it? Such that as it comes, you are good. Today, we were looking at someone who really understands how to listen in online, to be able to see what people are searching, so that then we can be able to answer those pain points. And so the question becomes, is there anyone within the organization who actually saw that, prepared themselves, such that if that was to be advertised internally, the person is saying, I'm here, I'm ready. So this is the reality check we need to do for us to take off and just enjoy the promotions, enjoy movement of jobs from here to here. You go in, you speak, people listen to you, and they tell you how much are you looking at. You mention a figure, and they are like, okay, when do you want to join? And like a situation where people tell you you wanted 100K, but they are telling you we will give you 30 so that you learn, because I mean, in terms of confidence, you have it. But in terms of the skills needed, no, we will train you. We will take time to train you. So your interview takes about 3, 4, 5 minutes. You are done. Let's do a reality check here. I've just given a sample of a HR professional. So in HR, these are the competencies we will be looking for. We want people who understand customer knowledge, because we deal with customers. Employees are our customers. We want someone who is helpfulness, who understands the business, so that if you are looking at a job description of an engineer, you are not guessing. You know what they do, and therefore you can be able to list exactly what they do. We want someone who can position and message. So in HR, we communicate various things. You communicate wrongly, you cause chaos. And therefore, we want someone who is at a 5. As you can see, this is a wheel. Ideally, you are supposed to be perfect here, around here. But as you can see, the wheel is rough. When you look at, for example, this particular person on an area like inspirational leadership, he is at a 2, meaning we need to work on that. So immediately you carry out your own assessment, then you plot somewhere. You can use different tools. It doesn't have to be looking like this. So for example, I've used an example for Graig Asega here, and understanding the business we are saying is at a 1. So what is the proposed intervention? What do we want to do? By who, by when? So you start committing yourself. You start putting here some milestones. And the more you tick on each of these areas, the more your wheel comes round. And therefore, you can now start talking to people. You can now start discussions, serious discussions that will actually result into something towards your career. So I want to end here. And all I want to say is that time is ticking. We are all looking at how do we grow in our careers. We have people who are looking for jobs. We have people who do not know what will happen tomorrow if a new machine comes. I think we can do something. Our starting point is here. Understanding, having this kind of a journey, then understanding what is needed, then being real with yourself, carrying out a reality check, above all, developing a plan. And like I said, for the 3 people that I'm speaking to today, that person who is looking for a job, this is your area to begin. Go to the newspapers, go online, ask yourself, for this job, what are they looking for? Look at the skills needed. Ask yourself, do I have it? If you don't have, good time to start working on yourself. For those who are looking at promotions, the question is, do I know what is needed in the next level? Do I have all this? Can I get 555 here? I'm here today. If I don't have, if I have 3 out of 5, what do I do? Do I get someone who already is good? Or what do I do so that then I improve myself? I'm looking at all of us in our organizations. The truth is that it's changing very fast at an alarming speed. What we used to do tomorrow is not what we will do. What we used to do yesterday is not what we will do tomorrow. And therefore, the question is, are you checking what's coming? Are you researching? I'm looking at a very good example of a job that was very good. That's an electrician. Electricians will easily get jobs. But today we have now stopped looking for electricians. We are looking for instrumentation, because today we no longer want people to go to a machine and start troubleshooting. Today, all machines are computerized, and therefore, from wherever you are asking yourself, where is the problem? And you know exactly where it is, and therefore you go and handle it from wherever it is. So, if you were focused on electrical, yule mtu wa spanner na pliers na tester, you are no longer required today. You now must up your game, understand today We need instrumentation, and we are even moving. We want people who are good in mechatronics, who understands the whole system from mechanical point of view to electrical point of view. That's now the combination we are looking for. And that's why I was talking about multi-skilling. So I want to end here. And Keisha, I want to pick on any question. But like I said, we are all learning. So um, some of the questions, because I've been doing the talking, we will all answer them. Good. Let's
Yes,
move.
wow. Asante sana. Asante sana sana, Greg. I don't know about you, all who are tuned in, but I've been taking a lot of notes and I've learned a lot. I'm seeing on the comment section there's a lot of engagements and comments, and I first checked, did a check-in, and we see people are saying they are safe wherever they are, and we ask that you still stay safe as the rainy season is ongoing. And we have an audience from different parts of the world. I see we have people in Nairobi, Kericho, Mombasa, the UK, Dubai. So we really appreciate you all for tuning in from different parts of the world. So without further ado, I will just go straight into the questions and comments. Um, so I'll just project them on the screen. Yeah, so Bill High is asking, awesome talk there, Greg. Do you do CV revamps by any chance? Any leads of a HR consultancy firm that we can share our CVs in case of opportunities in the market?
Um, Thank you for that. So I can look at. I don't do it as a business, but I can. I can help. I can look at a CV. I can help. I know guys who are also good in it. I can support, and I know a firm, and this is for information that is working on a database. I've seen the question on CVs in case of any opportunities. So there is a platform that has been created where you can. They are looking for people who are skilled in different areas, and they get references from people who have worked with them, so that they are stored there for employers to access and tap in. So we are talking about more of a credit reference bureau, but not on the negative side, on the real positive things that the person has actually been able to do. And therefore, I'll be sharing that link for people to share their CVs. They will be reviewed for purposes of just making sure they are properly vetted and employers can be able to tap in. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Greg. We have another question. What do you do? Or this is from James Miner. What do you
Mhm.
check when you need to when you need competent hands on skills that may not be much guided by theory on papers?
Okay, I'll
Theory
give
or
a
papers, yeah.
theory of papers. I'll give an example of people that I treasure so much, the people who stitch. So let me take an example of someone who stitches or makes bags. So I want someone, so look at the skill I'm looking for here. I'm looking for someone who can stitch straight lines and a good finishing. So you see that you don't need a paper. You need to sit on the machine, stitch. I will look at it and I'll be able to tell this is a straight line. I was looking for a bag near me so that I can be able to demonstrate. But basically, you can test. So long as you know exactly what you want, so you can literally put people to test. If it's a salesperson and you want to test their negotiation skills, it's easy. You can actually work with them and see how they do it. And therefore, it's understanding what skill am I looking for, then now putting it to test. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'll just project a comment here from Bilha again. She's saying her take home is equipping herself. We need to remain relevant no matter what to avoid being irrelevant. Then there's also need to constantly learn. That's another takeout that she has shared. And our secretary, Mercy, has said that she just reiterated the comment that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who can't read and write, but those who can't learn and relearn. That's an amazing comment. There's another comment here from Bilha. There's the power of multitasking and reskilling, then the ability to take up challenges and resolve many tasks as you can, and also just retaliating a bit on the skills that we said we need to, learn and have data analysis, digital marketing, artificial intelligence, as well as cybersecurity and cloud computing. Then we have a question here again from James Miner. He's asking, apart from termination, are there legal avenues for rogue staff?
Allow me, I'm happy because I have my colleagues. Some of them are very senior HR managers. I've seen them here, some all the way from Dubai, others UK. Rita, thank you so much for joining in. Um, are they able to speak? No, using this platform, not yet, isn't it?
No,
Keshi?
they cannot.
No. Oh, okay.
I can, unless if you can share my number with them, like privately there on
Mm,
the chat, I can give them the link to join the
it's
session.
okay. I wanted Mr. David Malago to respond to that. I've seen him here, but then let me take it on. So you've talked of, apart from termination, are there legal avenues for rogue staff? Rogue staff, who is a rogue staff? Rogue will be, I will need some, Keshi, what do you understand
I
by a rogue
believe,
staff? Mm,
well, I would go by just what you shared about someone who's able to maybe follow company policies. And so if someone is rogue, is probably is not a
mm,
team player and doesn't follow company policies. So
right.
basically someone who is trouble at work.
Yeah, so basically, again, um, like you've indicated here, if it's to do with the performance, then definitely you walk them through the performance process. So you are not meeting these standards, and we can actually measure even competencies, especially core. For example, if I'm looking at collaboration, which is very important for us as a company, and you are not a team player, you can't communicate, we can actually walk you through a performance improvement plan. We give you some time to work on yourself. If you can't, then you are walked through the process until you exit the organization. But basically, the saying is that everyone can change, everyone can improve if they are given opportunity. So from this rogue, I think if we focus on them, if they have the right attitude, we can actually be able to transition them from rogue to the opposite of rogue. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, great. This is a comment from Bill again. You need to draw a roadmap on
Mm,
on yourself in the organization of where you are and where you're headed to. Then there's a
that's right.
comment from Christine Bureau saying that she's proud of you and the session is very enlightening. And then
Thank
we
you.
also have Rita. I think you've mentioned her on point, and I believe she was talking about how you review different roles. So this is exactly what they use in diaspora, the scenario questions. So, and the session is very enlightening. And then we
Thank you.
have Laura Isigi. Just a moment. Laura says this is enlightening. Big up, Greg. And then Bill also appreciates your illustration. And we have a question here from Anne Gathoni. I believe she's in Sweden. And she says, what is your advice on someone changing careers, for instance, from white collar to blue collar, and wanting to do a back to white collar? Do you remove the blue collar experience from the CV?
I will say no, because we are a sum total of the journey we've taken. So, for example, personally, I kicked off at NASA Airport as a cleaner with my qualification in HR, then moved on into an assistant HR, to a HR officer, to a manager assistant, all the way to where I am today. And I remember very well what I learned as a cleaner. There are things which I picked which are still helping me today. And therefore, not unless you want to focus your application on a certain area, and then you can rework on your CV so that then it addresses that. But all I wanted to say is the learnings you picked along come in very handy, and therefore no need to despise, but carry them along. Thank you. And
Asante. I think this is Albert. And so he says, thank you for the informative session. How can I transition into the industry of branding and marketing for corporates as a career advancement move from a smaller branding firm?
Misita, this is a good one. I've been interviewing brand managers, and I can assure you this is an area to tap in. If we can advise our young people to really focus on this. Remember, organizations exist for purposes of selling a product. Now, if you can work on a product and you actually have the right experience to grow a product from what it is to where we desire, then you are someone we value so much. And therefore, today in Kenya, we have really combed the industry of people who have done brand management. There are few. So if you can build your competencies in that area, smaller, I will not necessarily say there is any difference between small and big. If I have a bag that I manufacture, it is a huge brand similar to Fresh Fry. So the question is, how are they packaging Fresh Fry, and how am I packaging this particular small brand from a small company? And therefore, mine will be work on your competencies from where you are, such that if that big company calls you, you go in and you really demonstrate that you are the right person, and therefore you're able to move in. Um, my numbers were there. Get in touch. I can share some of the competencies of a brand manager so that you look at how do you transition from entry all the way to mastery. Then you work around it. I can also give you scenarios we can work together such that I see you transition. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I'll put his number once we are almost done with the Q&A. And
Thank you.
actually, we are almost done. So I encourage, if you have a question, we will just extend this for another maybe 5 minutes. I'll take another comment. This is great. Jeff Mwale. He says, great insights, Mr. Asega. Greg. Asante sana, Jeff, for tuning in. This is Albert. He's using his DJ name. My take home is to have a reality check on my competencies, then upskill on areas that are lacking and build on the strengths. Thank you so much. And we also have Clyde who's watching from Kiambu, Asante Sana. And we have Phyllis who's watching from Mombasa. And we also have Kenneth Wanjao. He's asking, at what stage in your career do you realize that you're done with the learning curve?
Okay. I read that question and I was smiling because I'm not seeing any stage that you end. I'm looking at I've been interacting with senior guys who have sat on boards. They're at a certain level. But remember one thing: you will have all that experience that you've gathered, but there are new things that are coming through, and therefore the need for you to continue to learn to become relevant. Today, I'm actually dealing with three very senior who are at advanced level, but they are still able to sit in a class like this to pick up the new learning. So if I can answer, the time you realize that the learning curve is going down is the time you exit from the earth. That is the time you stop learning.
Yeah, that is very profound. Thank you so much. James is clarifying that what he meant by rogue is dishonest, sticky fingers, that is a thief. So I think Greg's comments answered your question. And then we have Dennis. He says, great insights, sir. Your words are full of wisdom. Thank you for this platform. We appreciate you. And yeah. Then we have Kenneth Wanjao. He says, simple and informative presentation. Asante sana. Then we have James Kamau. He says, very informative. Thanks, Greg. Then Rita says, very good question, Greg. I need very good session, Greg. I need to share this with my son. Yeah, yeah. That now that they are starting their careers, yeah, I agree with that. Then we have David Malago. He says, Greg, you have done well. Then we have him saying, then next time the topic with succession planning, we will do that. Great. I think we have another last question here from Gathoni Ann. She says, when you're interviewing for jobs that require mastery for a second language, let's say for UN positions that require French, and you don't have a super mastery, how do you navigate the interview?
Yeah. So thank you, Anne. And this is what I will say. If I'm recruiting and I want someone who is good in French, then I don't need to compromise that because it becomes very critical. And therefore, there is no way I will advise to navigate. The only way will be if you know you'll be looking for jobs in those areas which require that language, then it becomes important for you to master it. So when you look at competencies, again, we are saying, I speak Chinese, for example. I'm at basic level. If I'm now looking for a job that I will need to use proper Chinese, then I now need to take some time and go through the stages from basic to mastery. So my answer there will be, like I said, on your aspirations. If you know where you want to go and you know very well it's UN and they really need people who are good in a certain language, go for it. And languages are simple, they are easy. I thought Chinese was very difficult, but within 6 months I had known it. I can speak it, I can write. And therefore, I will just advise that let's take it with the same strength as competencies and work on it step by step until you master.
Thank you for that. James has a piece of advice for the young generation. A very untapped area is electronic repairs. I would encourage to dive into it. Very few competent and ethical persons. Thank you. So as we learned, there are so many evolving careers. So it's good to you also, like, even when you're advising the younger people to do their research and see what is happening out there. And even for ourselves, as you're also looking to grow from entry to mastery. And thank you so much, Greg. I'll give this opportunity to our secretary, Mercy, to speak on behalf of our leadership. I don't know, Mercy, are you still there? I see her screen has, yeah, Mercy, you can speak on behalf of the leadership and just give your parting shot on behalf of the alumni as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lucy. And thank you so much, Greg, for a very insightful session. I'm particularly very excited because I did HR in school, in campus. And these matters of HR are I take them to heart. Although I wasn't able to practice, I'm currently doing something totally different. And I would also encourage everyone, maybe those in campus, yeah. Well, it's necessary for you to do the course that you're doing, but also it's good to explore different avenues. As someone was asking whether their blue collar is still relevant, everywhere your journey takes you, it's very important to actually gather as much skills as possible, like a variety of areas. Uh, all those skills will be required somewhere. So, on behalf of the leadership, we are very very happy to have you on board, and also happy to have these sessions because we are able to talk to the younger alumni and to many others who maybe cannot make it to be with us physically, but they can be able to engage and contribute to the association through our the deep dive series and many others that we have online. We will continue to have many more sessions. Also, we welcome you, Greg, to also be part of them. Thank you for taking your time, and thank you to also having to have shared also this with your colleagues because I saw that they logged in. Thank you also for joining into the session. Well, I think that's it from my end. Maybe Lucy, we can conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mercy. Greg, asante sana, we appreciate you. And I'll just project, just a moment, I'll add your number so that those who wanted to engage with you after this session, you can reach to him. His number is 0729 470 169. That's 0729 470 169. Yeah, so feel free to reach out and even to us as leadership, and we'll continue bringing in more sessions like this. And if you want Greg to come back, please write in the comment section. And thank you so much also for the great engagement. Let's keep our sessions as lively as possible. And that's it from us. The session will be on our YouTube channel. So for those who probably found it halfway, you can check it once we are done, and you can rewatch and take notes. And if I don't know, Greg, can we share the presentation with the alumni as well? Or
Yeah, sure, sure.
all right, great. So we'll also
Yeah,
share the presentation with you so that you can review it as you're also watching the deep dive. From me here in Kiambu County, we wish you a lovely night or lovely day for those in different parts of the world. And asante sana, Greg. We are honored to have you, and thank you for sharing your knowledge. And we look forward to more engagements with you. Have a good
thank
night,
you,
everyone.
thank you.
Bye.